Hello again from the Horseshoe Lounge at Roosters. It is a fun, casual joint. This is a fun, casual conversation with Bobby Carpenter, Nicole Cox, and the birthday boy, Justin Zwick. Oh,
I had to share it with all the moms yesterday, but it was still, it's still a birthday boy.
Happy
Ellen,
birthday.
get out of here. It's my birthday.
You've been so depressed the last couple weeks. It's like, I think you were dreading 41 more than 40.
Maybe that was it, but...
Because at least 40, there's something to it.
But as I sit here right now, 41 is off to the best start.
So glad.
Of a birthday that I've had, and maybe...
Eric's on the phone. He's supposed
maybe
to be
the 21st birthday was
he's supposed to present you something on camera. It'll be here in a minute. He's busy working.
Yes,
but there are chips.
There are chips in the
house
today. A birthday miracle. I am pumped.
Birthday miracle.
I am pumped for that. That just made my birthday right there.
You can eat them all week
long.
long.
I will. I will eat
Well, they're
those.
so good because unlike normal chips that you have to wrap up
in a bag, put those in the fridge.
And believe me, it's a pan is a large portion of chips to
giant.
eat. I mean, I don't know how many servings are in a pan.
It's one serving for Justin Zwick.
That's all it is.
It's supposed to be like 15
for the rest of us.
Yeah, how did you know that? I like that, Austin.
I've been around Roosters a time or two.
Yeah, that's great.
So 15 G's. I am fat. Because I will eat that entire thing.
Sorry, it'll take you like 5 days. It'll take you like 5 days,
it'll go
so
through the
it's
week.
fine.
But yeah, they just sit there, you toaster oven them up.
5 days, that's optimistic.
We don't even warm them up at home.
If they
don't
you
have to.
Well, they could. They won't.
No.
If those chips make it past Thursday,
I'll be surprised.
I would be very surprised. You're going to probably eat 30 to 40% tonight, like another 20 to 30 a month.
100%.
And by Thursday, it's it's 15. You'll sit
There'll
down
be some crumbs left. I'll be walking by. That's just so good.
After you've picked out all the choicest chips today, then you just slowly work down. Because that's my thing. I try to pick any
big ones,
any of the doubles in there that are going to be extra crunchy.
I'm going to need extra spicy ranch to take home because that's going to dip so good in there.
Get a bottle of ranch.
Ooh, yes.
My kids use that spicy ranch on everything. They put it on all their little wings. And he makes their little. He took all the mediums the other day and put a little dollop on it. It was like a finger food. I feel like it was a pate. And put a dollop of ranch spicy ranch on every one of them.
Would he like to come work at Roosters? I'd love it.
He would.
Sounds great.
He would.
Put him back there in the test kitchen.
Yeah.
He would enjoy it. And they really like the new spicy
chicken. Which is absolutely on fire, by the way.
Yeah, we had to bring it out.
Pizza. Ooh, boy. Had it last week. Delicious.
Bill Landis said that the Nashville chicken pizza is his favorite thing he's ever had at Roosters.
That's saying a lot.
And that's the highest praise.
Yes.
It smells amazing. I don't know how.
It looks amazing.
The sandwich is equally as good.
I don't see how this stuff is
trying
going
that bad boy tonight.
Yeah,
and
then the burger.
Trying to make me go back.
The burger with the feathers,
with the feathers on top.
Sauce.
Oh yeah.
Now this is only in the corporate stores for right now, but hopefully we get enough awesome positive feedback that then we can have them
Roosters
roll it out.
does chicken mostly. I mean, obviously you have burgers and pizza and everything else, but got known for the wings. How did it take so long to get a Nashville spicy chicken sandwich?
I think because you always had that option to do it, but we wanted to try to just make it so that it's consistent across, the way the guys make it in the back. And
so that's you back there with the ruler, taste testing, smacking hands, making sure.
I wouldn't say that would be me, but
someone is doing it.
I think too, we're not necessarily, I know like hot chicken takeover, hot chicken places.
Yeah, they became popular in the last couple of years.
They did.
Nashville hot.
And I don't know if we're necessarily like a direct competitor because we don't really focus on it. So we have the option.
Great option.
It's a great option to have.
My
You
son
guys
loved
took your
it,
time putting it together because you wanted it to be quality, just
Jay
like everything else
and
you
his
have.
whole team,
Yeah, exactly.
they did a great job. A lot
It's
of great
so
feedback.
Not
There's tons
And the
of great
gluten-free pizza, the gluten-free
The
cauliflower
cauliflower
crust.
My kids I've been doing Pavlov's dog, just a little bunch of psychology tests on them, and I didn't tell them which was which.
Okay.
And I didn't tell them which was which. We're doing pure blind taste testing, and there's been no differentiation. I don't want that. That pizza wasn't as good as this one, and because I've had two each week, and I've been blending them together to see if they've noticed.
Okay.
And folks,
I like
right
it.
there, it's delicious. I've had it. I enjoy it.
I prefer the cauliflower crust. I like the flavor of it, and so I think.
But if you
better.
if you think I don't want to get a pizza that doesn't taste like pizza, that's not it.
It definitely tastes like
because my kids love it, and they've eaten both of them, and they haven't known the difference. So
and they have very discerning palates.
They do.
All kids do, yeah.
And tell me what is on everything.
Yeah.
Tried to lie to him one time about the wings. This isn't that. It is. No, it's not.
So
Said you got mild. It's medium. Sorry.
Jay-Z had a birthday, and Nicole, you got to celebrate Mother's Day. How was Sunday for you?
It was busy at the lacrosse
games,
field.
yeah.
How great is that they gave you a lacrosse tournament for Mother's Day?
It is so nice. What do you guys have on Father's Day?
The U.S. Open.
The US
That's
Open.
what they put on
That's
there.
so cool. That's nice.
That's
nice.
That's Austin going to play golf in the morning and then watching golf all afternoon.
That's pretty cool.
Father's Day.
Sounds like a
Actually,
great Father's
it was
Day.
really great. Besides,
It was a nice day.
yeah, it was a great day. Besides parents yelling a lot at the refs, you know that
It's
I get
because
really
it's Mother's
anxious.
Day. Everybody's upset about being
You're
there.
really anxious, but we ended up winning, so that was
There you
super
go.
fun. And then Roberta and Cindy, who come to our show all the
there they're
time,
back here.
they
Hey,
brought me a
girls.
little Mother's Day gift.
All
It just
right.
made my
Aw.
whole week. They're the sweetest and
Nice.
such great supporters of the show, which is so nice.
I want to ask for all sporting, like we can do a one-off game because it was a tournament you guys had, correct?
It was the state
Yeah.
championship.
So-
Now, we're blessed that it was in my backyard. It could have been in Cincinnati.
It was a state
It was-
championship on a Sunday.
Did nobody look at the calendar?
Wow.
See, oh,
They
that's
do.
got a
Oh,
little
they've done this-
holiday
They
here.
don't care.
They've done this since
That's my
our
point.
daughter was
Yeah.
it.
Is
She
that
had
right?
tournaments.
They
Yeah.
don't care. That's the worst part.
Sundays used to be family days.
I can-
We
I
need
can
to
hit-
get back to that.
Can we get back to that?
We need to get back to Sundays
do.
family days.
I can handle like a one-off game at a 2:30. Like go to brunch beforehand, or maybe you play at noon. You can do something after. But like the multi-game tournaments on Mother's Day, I don't need that because it's
tough.
we played at 12:30, and it was my mom and then my mother-in-law couldn't get up in time because we were out in New Albany and before we had to leave, and so we played 12:30. When do you think you could play again? Maybe 2:30. Have a game between.
5.
False. Played at 3:45. So
Still, that's
my mom and
quite-
dad were going to stay out. It's like, go watch your other grandson, my son play. Court, get out of here. I'll be the one.
That was nice of you.
Well, it was awful, and I was angry because then I wanted to go back and like I was trying to cook. Well, I was the one that was like designated to cook,
That was so nice.
and but I felt terrible.
What'd you
Like
cook? What's on the menu?
we did
When
tacos.
Bob's behind the
We did
kitchen.
tacos. We had some shredded chicken.
I like
It was
Sounds
really
like it
nice.
should have been Roosters.
And then I got.
I went to
well,
Roosters for dinner.
We're gonna have roosters. Listen, coach, we're gonna have roosters today. Okay, I mean, like, and to
You
be
can't
honest
eat
with
it
you,
every day.
the people, the natives were getting restless, and I did come back, and there were some wings that were out being eaten, because I think at 3:00 everyone was starving. But we did that, and then I had some venison tenderloin. I love to trick the kids.
Venison tenderloin. Wow.
Tenderized it in the morning, put some lime
Some
on
of
it.
the best meat you'll ever eat.
It was really good. I was worried it'd be tough and maybe not quite as good as like a traditional beef tenderloin.
Yeah.
But everyone's like, "Oh, this is great,
It's a
great."
little more Pavlov's dog going
Court,
on here.
100%.
Okay.
Court was the
All right.
only one that knew, and she's like, "This is really good." I'm like,
That's
RJ,
awesome.
this is the best meat we've ever had.
Yeah.
It's like it's venison. He's like, "Great." Is this one of Grandpa's cows? I'm like, venison's a deer, so we're gonna get
Venison
through that.
means veteran cow.
We're
Yeah.
gonna talk about that first.
So yeah, but it was
That's
really
hard.
good. So it worked good. You had some
Yeah.
beans. That's this little taco bar, Nicole, and they cleaned it up afterwards. And I was like, today, perfect. We'll have little
That's
roosters.
really nice.
So-
And it was great. I mean, I got to spend it with the kids. Our daughter was with us the whole time, which was nice. So it was good. It was just long. but
Okay.
good.
Well, that was a great weekend.
Yeah. When you guys were at Ohio State playing, did you get to go home for Mother's Day?
Yeah, because we'd always finish up spring ball. At
You
the
guys
end
were
of April.
close though.
We were closer, but it was always done by April.
Yeah, but we were still always in school.
We were in
because we went to
school.
school until June.
Yeah,
Yeah.
back then.
So we would
Yeah.
try to get out, and
Yeah.
I'd go back and see my mom.
Yeah, but we didn't really have anything. You
It
got
was-
to be back for lifting or something. maybe
Yeah,
Monday.
it'd be like Sunday, like, oh gosh, it's like 8:30. Oh, I told my mom I'd make it to church with her. Oh, I feel so
See,
terrible.
mine moved to Florida, so it's just like, hey, happy
Yeah,
Mother's Day.
I would try to get down because I'd promise her that, and it was just Saturday night. You never really like, oh yeah, I'll be fine. I'll wake up at 7:30, 8 o'clock, shower, and drive on home. Never really. It always went a lot easier in my mind.
Yeah,
than-
yes, it was a good
than when I
plan.
planned it out.
Oh, to be young.
Everybody has a plan until they get hit in the face with
That's
a
Well,
case
most-
of beer.
that roster is coming back to campus as summer workouts start to ramp up in the next, I don't know, May summer semester. I don't
They're
know what it
back
is.
now, discretion-ish this week.
Yeah.
I think next week is the full launch and ramp. But these guys are so professional that they're all like back and ready to go.
Yeah.
I mean, they take a little time, maybe take a vacation. When they see their mom, but then they're back.
Yeah.
So they're
So
ready.
is school done this week?
School's been done.
Oh, it's been done.
Oh, yeah, we had graduation 2
It's
weeks
the next,
ago.
The
Oh,
next
that's-
phase.
yeah, that's right.
A great speech, by the way.
Oh man, what
Don't
was
even.
that about?
That's yeah.
It was about drugs and crypto. I'm,
But not the type of messaging around it.
not the way you think.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm thinking May 13, Bob.
It's more like do the drugs, Nicole, and buy
And then,
crypto.
and then write a speech
Not
to
stay
say in front
away
of
from-
everybody.
Let's stay away from drugs and
Yeah.
crypto. And there was an unfortunate event that happened alongside it. It was.
They
It would not have
It's
been. You would not have been probably happy if you were someone that chose to go. and
could have had
graduate.
LeBron or this guy, and they chose this guy. But anyway, I'm viewing this this is the worst month of the year, May, to cover Ohio State because it's so long and boring and they're not doing anything.
Well, they've got some recruiting and things. They're doing a lot of work at the Woody.
They
There's
are
a
lot of construction.
Construction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love going.
What are they building right now?
Oh, they're getting new cold tubs in, bigger, more
New
stuff. New carpets.
Replacing the fields.
Replacing the fields, replacing new lockers, of course, because that's
of course, yeah.
got some nice stuff. They've got one
They're
that's
probably
like
falling in on them. You couldn't even sit down in those lockers, probably.
Yeah, I mean 5 years. Is,
Well, yeah, I know 5 years.
They
so
hadn't
long.
been. It would have been like 5 or 6 years ago that they were just replaced. So you got to spend that money somewhere.
we were in the same lockers, I think, as the.
I think the Woody was built.
Steve Tovar walked into. This is no joke. So Steve Tovar finished up in what 93, probably 94. Yeah. Steve Tovar came walking in as a graduate assistant. And we were sitting in what was our lounge, but was like just an extra deep hallway where our stuff was.
Old
the
TV.
old lounge with the TV that, like, if you looked at it from the side, it was like Technicolor. I mean, it was like an old school big.
I know exactly.
Box
the old big box,
big screen projector,
the rear projection.
Terrible. I mean, the contrast on it was so bad, but you didn't know because we didn't have anything else. Steve Tovar walked in. He was like, "How long has that TV been here?" Like, I don't know, since the day I got here. And then he asked like one of the older guys, like, "Since I got here," he goes, "That was the same TV that was here when I was here." He goes, "I think I got here when it was there." And God bless Steve Tovar, brotherhood, hashtag Buckeyes, all the things. Like 2 days later, new TV in the lounge.
God love
That's
him.
big time.
He's like, "You guys can't be watching. How do you recruit to this?" I'm like,
Well, and that's
I
the
don't
thing. They
know.
have to stay on top of it for recruiting because
See, I thought it kind of went away, the recruit, for the
still-
recruiting. Because you have the
can't
NIL
have
now.
you do have NIL, but you can't have a box TV.
Well,
from
no,
1948.
but they don't have that over there. By my senior year, we were lifting in the indoor because they were redoing the entire
It's
weight
nice.
room.
Well, you have to do both. These guys want to be comfortable, and you don't want the players to have to buy their own TV to put in the players'
we had
lounge.
to buy our own socks.
And you're basically going to live there, so
They
you
do.
want it to be amazing. That's where you're going to spend the majority of your time.
So I'm calling this, Bob, the midway point of the lengthy offseason. But a lot of the work for Ryan Day has already been done.
Yep.
So what do you make of the last 4+ months, as we're here in the middle of May, this job that Ryan Day has done to get ready for 2024?
So the preceding 4 months, we're going to take a mid 10-year look.
Well, for him, like Mickey Marotti's going to lead the offseason program.
Yeah.
There may be they picked up a punter in the portal on Saturday. There may be an opportunity to pick
Michigan
up
State safety was coming through.
Yeah, so there may be 1 or 2 pieces that could be added in the transfer portal. But really, for Ryan Day, the coaching staff is complete. The roster is 99% complete. He doesn't lead summer workouts. Like, if the parts that he can control for the foundation and then the foundation of the program plus fundraising, which he's Saddle Up's in the rearview mirror, the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer's in the rearview mirror.
But
you got a big one coming on June 21st.
June 21st, 5 to 7 p.m.
A very normal lift time.
Yes, 5 p.m. Well, I don't think they were going to get folks up at 6 a.m.
They should have.
That's the experience, right?
At St. John's, they're going to do like an open lifting session, workouts, everything. I think yours truly is going to be the MC.
Hey, okay.
Mickey Marotti and I walking around. It'll be the cast of characters. And I think they're going to have some like fan experience stuff where they can talk to, I don't know if autographs or what, with some of the older players before or after, one of the two. But they're raising money for NIL and everything else. So I think it's $100 a person, capped at $250 for a family. Friday night, come in there, concessions. Hang on, if you want to see how the Buckeyes legit train, I mean, it's not going to be ultra crazy, but it's going to be fun. And you're going to see these guys get after it, highly competitive.
If people want to jump in, can they?
I don't know if they. I don't
think they're allowed.
The
You
liability.
have to sign a waiver for that.
I was going to say, there should be
they're
you
not
get
gonna
to
let
put pads on and somebody gets to crush
I've already
you.
watched when we did that. We did some fundraisers with the Buckeye Cruise with Schlags, and I mean, usually someone would always throw up, and that was him just working with.
I went to one of those.
Yeah, and how hard was that?
They were pretty hard. They were great though. I loved it.
You're not going to put somebody off the street into a workout next to JT Tuimoloau.
Yeah.
And I think that's for the best. But that's coming up. So that again, that's the point. All these things are now lumped into the CEO version of Ryan Day, which is what he's trying to work towards. And it seems like this has been about as good of an offseason as you can have.
We have the football coaches outing the day before that too, for the Excellence Fund
Are
to
there
help raise money
still
for that.
spots available or sold out?
It's sold out, but
Sold
people, I mean, any company that's interested in being a part of it
That's
for
the
next
day
year,
before. Do I
we
have to
are
put
all
that in
about.
my
Yes, Bobby, I was going to tell you that after the show. If you could, we already have you paired with someone, so that would be great. Thank you. That's the 20th. at OSU Scarlet Golf Club. Eric, that we work with, is amazing and runs that. But it's our way to kind of give back to the program and raise money for the Excellence Fund.
So, Nicole, you've seen Ryan Day doing a lot of this stuff as well this offseason. Like, what do you think of it? How comfortable has he been in the CEO style role?
I honestly am enamored by how coaches have time to be a CEO and a coach and focus on a game, which should be a full-time job, but yet still being the face of the program, trying to raise money. I think he's been doing an incredible job. And what's really nice too is for us doing the golf outing, he's so appreciative. Like, he doesn't take it for granted, which could be very easy to do with the amount of things that are on his plate. He goes out of his way to thank everybody that gives to NIL or gives to the Excellence Fund, because he knows it's what is keeping the program moving as well. So I think he's doing a great job.
Ryan's doing, because you asked me that question before we were derailed, because I wanted to, because all I'm thinking about now is me running around doing that and then watching Schleich just sweating all over himself, sweating on other guys, yelling.
Going to need an extra mop at St.
Oh,
John's.
it is. Clean up on aisle 5. It's going to be, it'll be tremendous. But to her point about Ryan, it's tough. And listen to Schleich's line, as he always says, you'll be an entrepreneur. It's tough to work in the business and on the business, which is what Ryan's kind of been tasked with doing. But in all fairness, that's why you bring in a guy like Chip Kelly, who has coached a lot at a high level. He's been a head coach. He
kind of a mentor to him in a way.
And so you can let him do a lot more of the in the business stuff, while now Ryan can work on the business from top down, making sure he's doing all these events. He's coming on our radio program on Wednesday, like in studio, going to talk, and understanding like you're a little bit like promoting. I mean, you have to promote. You're the face of the program. There's a lot there, and making sure your players are in good spots, and that's what he is doing, because the coaches can't go out and recruit anymore, the head coaches, in the month of May. So his job here is to just like continue to blast everything and make sure he's talking to everybody and doing all the stuff he's supposed to, which is, I say supposed to, meaning like high level communication, which isn't why coaches got into coaching. Like nobody said, hey, I want to go do this. And here's your job title, administration, which is
I'd rather do fundraising than go coach football.
That's the worst part of it all. But Ryan has embraced it. He's a great guy. He's uniquely probably suited for this, more so than probably a lot of people would be. It's really hard.
Well, he's a younger head coach in the game, so it's not somebody that's been like a Chip Kelly maybe looking at this saying, I don't want to do it. Want this? Yeah. I would rather take a pay cut and go be an OC somewhere.
Which I think is what he.
Well, maybe not a pay cut, but I'd rather go just focus on football instead of have all this on top of my shoulders or that other stuff I have to do.
Because he was set up in a situation that wasn't exactly scripted for success, Jay-Z. There's a lot of 3rd and 12.
Yeah, but I think a lot of those older coaches though are just thinking like, I think Saban retired because there's a lot of this going on. It's just I think those older school guys don't want to deal with it. Ryan's younger. Well,
I wouldn't say that he wants to do it.
I wouldn't either, but he's going to adapt to it. He understands he probably has a little bit longer to go in this game. And he's going to have to adapt or die, is what they say, right?
And he's learning, too. I mean, this is all so new that it's kind of like you're teaching yourself and you're trusting people to help you come up with ideas, to help raise money. I mean, there's only so much money out there, so it's hard when you have so many different things that need funding. So I think he's doing a great job.
Unique events and things. And he's not a guy that just, like, pops in and says hi. Like he'll go and make sure and engage.
And he's there.
That at the coaches outing, he stays all day long. Yeah. He goes up to every single foursome. It's incredible. Like
we
just
bad
respect
shots
him.
In my group last time.
It doesn't matter. He was there. He was there to say thank you for being there.
Everybody told me, "Oh, Ryan can play pretty well," and he came up and.
Now, Austin, are we being a little critical?
I am being critical.
Been busy. He doesn't get to play very often.
Game. Yeah.
Coaches, there's an old saying.
Well,
you find a coach that's a good golfer, and I'll show you a coach that's not coaching very long.
Yep.
I'm not sure. That's
Steve Spurrier did it, I think.
He could do it in Florida when you have dudes. And he tried to do that with the Washington Redskins, and
it didn't work out so well.
That guy at Alabama could play some pretty good golf. I think he knew how to make it.
He was also 70. He'd been doing it for a long time.
Okay. Well, you might be right. Anyway. I guess I can't hold it against him. But anyway, the point is a lot of...
Tress, terrible golfer.
Well, Urban was pretty good. But I think Ryan Day's got him beat there athletically. You look at this stuff that you mentioned there, Bob, and there was this notion 2 or 3 years ago, Ohio State's not doing events. They don't know how to fundraise. They're getting pushback against NIL. And there may be grains of truth in there, but Ohio State wasn't going to be the leader. And they kept saying, well, once it becomes clear what the rules are, I guarantee that we'll find the edge. Ohio State will do it better than other places. And you've seen them increasingly ramp that up. Last year, it was in August. It was like there's going to be opportunities on the first 2 practices of training camp where fans can come in. They're making basically $30,000 to open up practices with no pads. Like, you're going to keep seeing more of this, and now you are.
Because it's a value add. I know they're doing some different things, some experiences, around the team and some stuff like that. And that's people. You have a way to kind of monetize an avenue that people want to see behind the scenes, like the workout stuff. Nobody gets to see the workout of the team, and that's
I want to see a workout.
Everyone sees the videos. Like, you've been priming this for about 15 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, these the videos are phenomenal. So people want to go see that. Like, and they're doing some cool and unique events. And so to get back to the genesis of the question, how's Ryan done? I don't know if I could say that there's a better way he could have done this job over the last 4 months, given everything that's happened over the last, year and change, to where all the stuff that's happened now. I'm not saying that I would make the perfect decisions in this, but I can't sit there and, be critical of this versus that. And there's someone like, well, they hired Bill O'Brien before you hired Chip Kelly. And it's like, well, I think there was some monetary constraints there that Bill O'Brien was a little more of a logical choice early on financially. But then once he evaporated, like, hey, well, we need to do this. Yeah, sure. Can we do this? And so then you have Chip Kelly. Did a great job in the portal. I think they've navigated everything really well. The coaching staff, I think they've done a good job bringing on James.
Yep.
The people have kind of undersold and not thought about that. He's on the road recruiting right now. They're doing a good job bringing guys in. So really, like, he's checked every box that you could really conceivably think of. He's available to people, available to the media. He's doing the events.
Which is unbelievable. He really is. He makes himself available for the greater good, to just make partnerships and relationships. He just knows that's what works.
Also, even outside of him, the other tentacle is then you're dealing with a new administrator in Gene Smith retiring, who was here for 19 years. Like, that's almost unparalleled stability at that position. And so they're comboing that now with the TV revenue split that looks like it's coming down the pike that they're going to be figuring out. And from conversations, I think everybody feels pretty confident about how Ohio State's going to be able to handle that and how this will help be a supplement to NIL. And so NIL won't completely go away, but this will make it a little bit easier and more palpable. But they have a pretty good plan with that, which I know, Ross and Ryan, those are the guys kind of formulating how that's going to work.
Yeah, and that should be a number that you're going to be able to
replicate. I mean,
you're like, hey, next year we're going to have the same,
because it's coming from the TV, like it's always there.
It's coming down instead of saying, all right, we got to go out and find more, so-and-so gave this much last year. We got to get somebody else to do that.
And that's going in play. Money. They believe, I think, in the 2025 school, like 2025, 2026. So not this year, but the next academic year that could potentially be happening.
That's a great idea.
It is. You know what else you can replicate? Every Appetizer Threes Day.
Often imitated, never replicated. The Roosters Threes
and
days.
I'm told if you have a wood allergy that this is the perfect solution.
These are the best. I mean, it's a bite-sized version of a corn dog. They refer to it as the mini corn dogs. That's delicious mustard dipping sauce. And if you're afraid of getting a splinter in your mouth,
when you call it dipping, mustard dipping sauce.
No, because it's not just mustard.
I consider it a dip. I consider it a dip.
It transitions.
It does
like
transition.
Ranch can be a salad dressing or it can be a ranch dip. It's very versatile.
I agree with that.
So you want to make sure you identify it for the folks.
I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying I enjoy it.
Okay, well.
Mustard dipping sauce, because there aren't a lot of situations where you think, I'm going to just go dip this in some mustard.
So if you've ever had a splinter in your mouth and you've suffered from PTSD from that, fear not. The mini corn dog, $3 all Tuesday at Roosters.
Test menu, Nicole, is also ongoing. What has been your favorite so far?
I do love the gluten-free cauliflower crust, and I love the mango habanero. And
That's
mixing
good.
the mango habanero and the garlic sauce together is really, really good. It kind of tones down the heat a little bit.
Okay.
Hey, and
Nicole, you are a connoisseur of
guys, Eric is just the best. He's part of our team. He is going to bring Jay-Z
Get
something.
on in here, brother.
This is the guy that keeps us going. I texted him at 8:30 last night. He's like, I'll bring him tomorrow.
Oh.
He's the best.
Look at that. I love it.
So Thank you, Eric, for that.
Eric,
You're the man,
you're the
dude.
best.
We're going to take a break. Nicole's going to be – she's leaving. She's going back to work. And I think probably by the time we restart that, half of that tray will be gone. So –
Don't you touch this tray.
I know. I was like, oh, we better put the lid back on.
yeah, happy birthday to Jay-Z and happy Mother's Day to
Thanks,
Nicole.
guys.
Congrats to the family on the big state championship
Yeah.
win.
It was fun. It was fun.
All right, thanks for having us. We'll be right back in here at Roosters. It's a fun casual joint.
Roosters has been so fortunate. We just want to be able to give some of that back to the community.
They donate to organizations that are near and dear to their heart, and we're so fortunate to have been with Roosters now for a long time.
They will always go above and beyond to help support our foundation to further help veterans.
It's just a wonderful feeling to know that Roosters supports the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer.
All the folks at Roosters are just genuinely kind folks, and they want to make a difference.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Thank you, Roosters.
Thank you, Roosters.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Welcome back into the Horseshoe Lounge at Roosters. Berm is here.
Good afternoon. Happy birthday.
Hey, thank you.
41?
One.
The number.
Catching you.
Well, you're never going to catch me. I mean,
Well,
you probably will pass me at some point. But yeah, it's
The fetus attitude right there.
Yeah,
Famous
man,
last
that was
words.
tough. I didn't mean to go that.
it's the
I didn't mean to go dark right there.
Got off to a whoop.
Yeah.
you'll never catch me. Hey,
as the elder statesman of this panel, I'd like to say I hope I die before you catch me.
that's good. Hey,
Wait, I have to die for you to catch
Yes,
me.
you would have to.
Right. Okay.
The race is on. And the off-season race is underway. Berm, let's expand it. We talked a lot about the NIL and CEO stuff. Like, what do you make of the last 4 months of roster management, roster building, what Ryan and coach management? Bob alluded to some of that. Like, you look at what Ryan Day's done. What do you think of this offseason?
We've talked about it enough. Like I think it's incredibly impressive. You don't want to put too much credence into what happens in an off season because then you get made fun of for
you don't want to win the offseason.
I mean, you do want to win the offseason, but you also don't want to only win the offseason.
Well, and that puts a bigger target on your back to go win in
Right.
the real season.
And if you're not, if the offseason successes don't carry over into something substantive in the regular season, then who cares? And especially for a program that in the last decade plus has regularly mocked those who celebrate off-season victories.
Well, I'm not asking for celebration. But
But I mean, it is worth celebrating.
Jubilation.
Well, it is compared to where we
Just a
thought we were
value,
going to where we
Right.
ended up. It's a celebration.
It is worth
I mean, it's-
celebrating
yeah.
because you generally aren't going to have the season you want if you lost the offseason. I mean, it's almost
there's an old
impossible.
adage that says you can't win a national championship in the offseason.
can lose it.
But you can lose it.
And Ohio State certainly has not lost it. I think the interesting thing is how different it could have been. And not even just the number of guys that returned, which we've talked about ad nauseum, but the Bill O'Brien moment. Like this, the feelings that people in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center seem to have about Chip Kelly are significantly different than like that initial burst of response when Bill O'Brien got hired. I think people were like curious and like, hey, I don't know what this guy's about, but we respect him.
Can't wait to see some fights on the
Yeah.
sideline.
Like, I think people like the initial response was, okay, we respect the guy, but not sure we're going to like him. And I think that's been with Chip Kelly, like people seem to genuinely be getting something out of him being there, which is not often the case when you're dealing with professional football coaches because they end up, being a little bit tied to their own understandings of things and their own experiences. And
Are you telling me that they may be inflexible over just years of consistency?
that's exactly what I'm saying. Yes. And so
Say you're right.
when you have a lot of young coaches, I think it's actually so valuable to have Chip Kelly there right now, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, it's in some cases I've heard that he's been like a buffer almost between Ryan Day and the younger coaches. Like if I would have said this to Ryan Day a year ago, he would have told me I was crazy, but now I can just tell it to Chip and then Chip can tell Ryan and he'll be like, oh, great idea. So like,
Well, because Chip's been through it before.
Yeah.
Like Ryan, you're always going to respect somebody's opinion
yeah.
if you've sat in that chair. And the fact that you think, like you look at Ryan and what he's done over his career, and then you look at Chip and how Ryan came up through him. Like if it's coming from Chip, there's just going to be an added filter on there where it's like, yeah, it seems like a pretty good idea.
Right, it's getting that validation to say, okay, he agrees with it. Now we can push forward. Roster-wise, obviously, Bob brought him up earlier. Jaden Mangum, the Michigan State safety transfer, was on campus this weekend.
I think it went pretty well.
We'll see if they make a move. I mean, I think that there's an opportunity there for a guy that has 2 years to, you can sell that a lot easier.
Different sales
Right.
pitch than just like you only have 1 year to back up Caleb Downs and Lathan Ransom.
Yeah, so I mean, and that's a player who I know that there's a lot of, you probably don't see it because you avoid Twitter, and unfortunately I have to look at it, but the last week there's been a ton of discussion from Michigan State players circa 2015, 2016, who are absolutely destroying the idea that Jaden Mangum may consider Michigan. Like, how could you do this? You know, even though the world is different now, I think he would prefer not to go to Michigan because
I think that's probably true.
You know, so I think that it does open the door for Ohio State to win that battle. We'll see if Nebraska can come over the top with money and starting opportunity, but it's certainly.
But it's Nebraska still.
It is Nebraska. It is.
They're up and comers right now.
That's the part that's hard to get over. Like,
it's hard to get.
If that's the one-on-one comparison, Ohio State shouldn't be losing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably won't. That's generally the way it works. But there is always that circumstance where one specific kid may be looking for something totally different, and I don't get the sense that
if you want to start this year, it'll be tough to sell on that.
So I mean, that's really what it comes down to. What is your primary?
What is your
motivator?
why?
Yeah. What? No. I mean, your why is always the same. In this case, it's money. But the question is, what's your?
Do you think it
motivator?
ultimately is though?
Probably. I mean, yeah.
If you look at Nebraska is in the conversation, then yes, money is a factor.
And I don't.
Now, will it be the only factor?
That's the point. What is the delineating?
Right. The question is, how much does conversation with these different programs change your focus, right? So, like, you go into this process, and if you look at Michigan State in the last 3 weeks, like, how many starters did they lose on their defense to the portal at the last minute? I mean, I think 3 or 4, right? So,
I think that was due to lack of NIL funding.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But what happens is,
which is funny because that was one of the programs that initially was most aggressive
in the portal.
But if you go into it and you have, like, in your mind, you have your list of priorities, and then all of a sudden you visit Ohio State, and it's like, well, here's where your priority is. Let's shift this down to 3, and does that move you? You know, I mean, that's the question, I guess. Ultimately, what moves you?
I think it went pretty well. He seemed like a pretty good kid.
Yeah, he's a good kid. I mean, did he have
a brother that played too?
His brother Jaron transferred from Michigan State and landed in Minnesota.
Okay.
He's actually from Toledo, so
they're both from.
That's the running back, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
They're both from Toledo.
No, I don't know if it's his brother. It might be his cousin.
All right,
but it's.
I know he has an older brother. I mean, his mom said that someone was talking about his older brother getting recruited at some point. So
Jaron Mangum, his older brother, was originally from Toledo, went to Cass Tech in Detroit, and then went to Michigan State, and now just transferred to Minnesota. Like, they entered the transfer portal at the same time. So there's an opportunity there. Obviously, Ohio State, as Austin said earlier, added a punter. Like, they're not done. They're not. You know, I think everyone.
Do they need a punter?
Does that big dude get here this summer?
He gets here in a couple weeks.
Gets here in 2 weeks, I believe, or maybe at the end of
2
next
scholarship punters?
No, this guy's not. He's coming on a preferred walk-on situation.
Yeah, I did see that.
But he was. You look at it, it's another one of these moves that's like, okay, Ohio State is not standing pat. You could say you signed an Australian, he's going to go on scholarship. You had already brought in a preferred walk-on a year ago, and Joe McGuire. Like, 2 is enough. Instead, you have someone who was a freshman All-American 2 years ago. He was top 30 in the country in net punting. He was ahead of Jesse Mirko a year ago. And if this kid's willing to take a preferred walk-on opportunity, you absolutely do that. It seems like a no-brainer. And it's another example of Ohio State, I think, looking at their roster and looking what's available to them at any period. It's now the second week of May. Hey, let's just see what's on the mind of this punter, because maybe that would help.
I mean, it's punting, so nobody wants to do it. But if you can get a guy who's has 150 career punts as opposed to starting a guy that has 0, like to me, I would probably
you're going to come be a preferred walk-on.
Right.
I mean,
so
let's do this.
It's a willingness to fiddle, which I think is important. Rob Keys, who I'm sure you know from over at Ohio State, it's like really, really good at special team stuff. So if he wants the kid, I think it makes sense. The Buckeyes went after another kicker, the Miami of Ohio transfer who ended up at Alabama, Graham Nicholson. So, like, they've shown they're not standing pat. I think people look at these last month and say, why didn't you go get an offensive lineman? But, like, we talked
Is there anybody out there,
that's
like,
the issue.
Hey,
like
I'm looking for a Ferrari. I actually went over to the Northern Lights and was going through some of the car shops on.
Here's a CRV.
Yeah, it's like, dude, if there's
a fine, reliable car.
Oh, my
shots!
But if there's nothing,
it's a reliable car. It's not a Ferrari.
If there's nothing in there to have, like, you're just gonna buy something to have volume,
right?
Like, I would culture, and, like, I've heard guys talk about this, and I think it's pretty evident. I hope publicly that people say, like, there's a closeness and a togetherness, like with the older guys in this group. And I think they're doing a good job of connecting with some of the younger guys and some of the transfers also that have come in. And so I'm not big on like adding more variables into the locker room unless you absolutely need them. Like, don't be bringing in guys who can be potential a-holes, especially if you're not going to be really good. Guys will put up with one dude if you're a jerk and you're a great player, but they don't really have any jerks on this roster. So it's like, do you really risk bringing someone in like, well, and lineman, this guy, he started at Middle Tennessee State for four games.
Bob, this came up 2 weeks ago when, UCLA's starting left tackle went into the portal. And it's like, well, Justin Fry, Chip Kelly, Ohio State must get involved. Okay, he was the worst graded starting tackle at the Power 5 level. That was like
in the country.
That was
not at UCLA.
That maybe represented the only opportunity to pick up a starting quote unquote caliber Power 5 player, and like there was no fit.
I think if Chip knew that he was really good, and maybe like
no.
I think that would sooner. I know this guy's not rated high, but like there's something. Maybe he had an injury or whatever. Like
I'm trying to supplement that to the point you're making. Like they had great knowledge of that, but also everyone else in the country did who has PFF premium stats login.
Do they all have to pay for those?
I don't have to, but some people do.
You think they steal the logins?
It's like
share them.
I think it was pretty intuitive because you had people instantly say, "Well, Ohio State must get involved. They should be involved. They know this guy." I don't know if he's a jerk or not. I'm not talking about that. On the field, he gave up 38 pressures last year. Everyone is up in arms against Josh Fryer. Do you know how many pressures he gave up, Bob?
I don't know, like
13.
Yeah, I was gonna say less than probably 10.
So let's pump the brakes. Ohio State is more aggressive, but they don't. That doesn't mean that they have to take 150 players. There's not an opportunity to do that.
You don't have to do things just to do things. And
I think they do that in recruiting. Kind of the same way, right? Like we want to recruit the kind of guys that we know will fit in this locker room, that will come in here and won't be headaches for us. So it's kind of the same thing in the portal.
It's a program that has been built in the last 10 years on finding the people,
on rock and roll,
people who fit. They didn't recruit a bunch of wild cards. Like they used to.
They need one.
They don't have the shankability. Like
okay,
they did back in the early 2000s.
They might need to get someone from the California Penal League.
I mean, you've got wild cards on the roster. If you want somebody to go in there and just light someone up, let Malik Hartford play for 3 snaps.
Jermaine Matthews. There's a lot of the best parts. Jermaine Dupree, where to party at Matthews. There's a lot of like the best parts of Damon Arnett inside of him.
Put Arvell.
I say the best parts.
Put Arvell out there.
You've got me intrigued. If we're talking Rico,
it's a Rico case at this point. But put Arvell Reese out there for a couple snaps. Put Jermaine Matthews out there.
Where are we on the top 5
Send the goons
Send the goons.
There are goons on this team. They're being hemmed in by the collective goodness.
Yeah.
At some juncture, maybe you got to let the guy out. Let it out, man.
What's the top 5 wildcard power rankings? You've named Jermaine Matthews.
Well,
you've named Malik
Hartford. Igbenogsen's number 1.
He's number 1.
Yeah, 100%.
And
like if someone, I could, Davidson is number 1, and Davidson, it's a little bit more like have you ever seen the movie Falling Down? With
Michael Douglas.
Davidson might be a little bit like that, where walking around in a shirt and tie, maybe short sleeve button down, and just has had a really bad day and goes to McDonald's.
Right?
Yes.
The high and tight.
And then there was just one thing that got him too much, and it just went over the top.
Davidson's number 1 without question.
Yeah.
We can filter the list from there. I want to talk about something that happened this morning on my drive down. That you got me wondering. Do you ever just wonder what happens to people when they just lose it? Because I was driving. This was at 8:25 this morning. I'm literally on the highway for 10 minutes, and I look behind me in my rear view mirror. It's a construction area. You're down to 2 lanes. It's kind of annoying. And this
is it bad? I gotta drive up there. I have to drive up there.
And this dude behind me. This dude behind me in the car. I look back and I'm just checking my mirrors like a good driver's supposed to. And I see him just wailing on his steering wheel and almost nearly jerked himself into the divider.
He jerked himself.
he jerked himself into the divider. He was just pounding and like
driving, and sometimes someone had jerked on me.
He was absolutely furious about something for like 2 seconds, and I happened to catch it when I looked back, and it was terrifying. I was like, I didn't do anything. I'm like, okay, I'm driving good. Nobody.
Maybe he's listening to Metallica or something. It's like Dwight Schrute going on a sales call.
He must have been on a phone, like a really pissed off phone call at 8:25 on a Monday.
On a Monday, that's tough.
Because
it's a tough way to start the day. He didn't have his coffee yet.
It was terrifying. I was like, oh boy.
Do you think that's how like Ryan Day would have been if he would have got the call that Jeremiah Smith actually went to Miami instead of Ohio State?
I think that press conference in December would have ended immediately.
He just walked out.
I don't think anyone would have told him.
Exactly. Who wants to be that guy? Hey, got this message for Ryan.
He's like,
you want to give it to him?
No,
I'm not giving it to him.
He's in the middle of a press conference. Let's let him finish.
I mean, you don't think he just would have got the thumbs down?
If he got it
in the
middle of the press
Did you
conference,
see him with the thumbs up? He almost fainted.
I don't think you're giving him the thumbs down in the middle of a press conference.
I mean, at that moment,
because you don't know what he's going to say.
Yeah,
you don't know what's going to come out of his mouth.
He would have actually collapsed.
What's even more crazy about that is, I mean, I'm not like Berm and scout all these guys down in the high school parking lot.
Why not?
And now I understand, because that's not really my bag. But after seeing him play, I understand now why everyone was so enamored with him. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. So I'm like, come on, dude, it's just a high school guy.
It makes a lot of sense.
And I was like, oh gosh, like he's
like
good.
A third-year college guy coming out of high school.
It's not a high school guy. That's a professional football player.
Yes.
At 18 years old.
He's good. Bob's really killing him with that praise there.
Listen, I'm gonna let his play do the talking on the field.
Okay.
I've seen plenty of him. For me to say that he's really good as the only other guy who I remember watching in a spring ball situation that was a senior in high school that I thought this guy could be a big time impact offensive player was number 13 with us.
Okay.
Like to that degree where like
who's the best running back?
You just knew.
Seen.
Like, yeah, he's
like, gosh, after like 3 practices, I'm like, oh my gosh, like
he was the real deal.
This guy's really good.
Well, it turned out okay for 13.
It did, at least in one.
I stand on it. Maurice Clarett is the best high school running back I've ever seen in person, and Jeremiah Smith is the best high school receiver I've ever seen. So, I think we're on the right track.
Yep.
Okay. It's been a good offseason. How do you complain? Now the question is, where does it go? What else do you have to do between now and mid-June when workouts start again?
You got to hydrate. You got to
keep everybody healthy.
Hydrate your face off. I mean, iron sharpens iron, dude on dude accountability in the weight room. Those things are all going to occur.
How does one of the quarterbacks win the job from here, Bob?
In the summer?
Yeah. How do you win the job, Justin? Like, how does a quarterback win his teammates over now, knowing that everyone already likes the other guys? Like, it's not like it's like one guy's a total a-hole, and so
I think you got to be a dude. Like, you got to go out there. You have to be engaging. You have to be present all the time. And you have to
be on your receivers. Hey, let's get out here and throw. Let's go do this. Let's get this together. I mean, you just take it upon yourself to almost formulate every plan. Now, it might be different nowadays. Back in our day, it was like, all right, we had to steal a play sheet from the coach's office, and we'd put our 7-on-7 together. It might be different now, but the quarterbacks are the ones who are leading that. And now it's hard to do.
It is different
for one guy when there's 2 guys. I mean, that's what Troy and I went through. The season leading up to. You both want to do that, and you don't want to be. Hey, I got.
It's like you don't want to pick.
It's tough.
Is there a world where you just pick receivers and say these guys are mine and those guys?
I don't know if you're like you don't want to try to divide. No. I'll tell you this: the receiver room. I don't think. They want the best guy to play. Yeah. And I think part of that is they've got to know that you're as invested as they are. Like Devin Brown is a hard worker. He's a charismatic dude. Like he's a grinder. He's always there. He's talking to him. And like that's all part of it. Like you just have to be able to get that comfortability, I think. Yeah. And that kind of permeates the whole locker room. It's the receivers are a big piece of that, but really it's the whole team where they have to feel comfortable that you can be the guy. And the only way they get to do that is, hey, especially as a transfer coming in, like we have to know that you're as heavily invested as we are.
They know that you're there all the time, busting it, getting after it.
And it's unfortunate because for someone like in Will Howard's shoes, like Devin Brown is so well liked that it's almost like you have to. That's an extra rung. If it was a guy that people were like, we kind of don't like him. Like it's easier to.
Yeah, but to Bob's point, the guys will know and they want the best guy out there. So if Will comes out and he's lighting it up and throwing it around, they're gonna see that and they're gonna notice that, and then they're going to say, yeah, and he is doing all this other stuff to the best of his ability, not stepping on Devin's toes too.
I think what's been impressive about that when we talk about that brotherhood, #Buckeyes, is that those three, the top three, Lincoln Kienholz, Devin Brown, and Will Howard, seem to travel in packs. Like, I can't speak to every single workout that they schedule, but at least the ones that were around spring practice, whether that was before, whether that was after, whether that was an off day where we happened to be in there doing content, like all three of those guys were most often working together with the receivers. It was not a branch off and this guy, I'm taking a Mecca and you're throwing a Cornell. Like it seemed like they like to roll together, and they seem to have a very good relationship.
And I think Mickey Marotti, I mean, also when he's building lifting groups and things, and he'll have those guys all lift together at times. There's times we'll have them lift in other groups with other guys. But there's an intentionality to that, to making sure that it's not, like you said, you're like creating your own pack of guys. Like there's different sects of
a one-man
or team,
especially if you have two quarterbacks who are good leaders and good workers. Like you want them to spread amongst the other guys, so the other guys can see like this is how you're supposed to be doing it. This is how you work, and this is how you're supposed to get after the summer program. So I think they'll just use those guys as well as they can in that aspect. The outside of the coaching stuff is where it's. They have a good relationship, so they'll talk. Hey, what is our schedule going to look like? What are we going to do? And then there's so many different receivers in that room now. All right, you're with the ones all right, I'm going to take these three guys, and I'm going to go and, be fine with that. You're not missing as much.
Well, the offseason is well and truly underway, the summer version, and we'll be keeping our fingers on the pulse. Bob will just be in there leading all the workouts, getting ready for the Friday Night Lift next month. Looking forward to talking about it all summer long until we can actually get back to training camp in games with the Buckeyes. Thanks to Nicole Cox and Roosters for having us in here on another Monday in the Horseshoe Lounge. Happy birthday to Jay-Z. Thanks to Bobby Carpenter, Jeremy Birmingham, and me. I am Austin Ward. We'll see you all next Monday. Have a great week.